From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Today is Tuesday, February 12th, 2013. I'm Daryl Clark. Our top story this evening: Governor Sean Parnell made a stop in the Fairbanks area today, meeting with the business community and further pushing oil tax reform and energy legislation for the interior, a venture he says cannot wait. The Republican governor was the featured speaker at the weekly luncheon of the Greater Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce. It's Parnell's first trip back to the interior since his announcement in December, pushing a proposed $355 million package aimed at jump-starting construction on a natural gas liquefaction plant on the North Slope, a Fairbanks-based natural gas distribution system, as well as an area-wide utility. The legislation has come under scrutiny in Juneau as some lawmakers question how the rest of the state will benefit as well. Parnell says it's now up to local citizens to call their legislators to get the word out.
Interior is suffering from high energy costs. So are other communities in Alaska. And in order to get this interior energy plan done, to get gas to Fairbanks now, like in the near term, we need to not only sell interior legislators on it, which I think we have done, and they're supportive of it, but we need to sell other legislators on it. And so I'm asking for Fairbanks residents, North Pole residents, to urge passage of the ADA legislation I mentioned here at the lunch, not only describing how it will impact Fairbanks residents, but how it can provide the backbone of an LNG distribution system that the rest of Alaska can benefit from too.
A 68-year-old man severely beaten in the Steese Highway community of Circle last month has died. Officials with the State District Attorney's Office in Fairbanks will decide whether or not to file homicide charges against the 48-year-old man they say caused the brutal assault on John Alexander. Alfred Harold Woods is held without bail at the Fairbanks Correctional Center, charged with first-degree assault. Witnesses told state troopers that on January 12th, Woods had been drunk and was trying to force his way into several homes to get people to fight with him. Troopers say Alexander's injuries included multiple broken bones and brain hemorrhaging. Fairbanks gun advocate and sitting borough assemblyman Michael Dukes is publicly offering his opinion after the arrest of Guy Christopher Menino last week. Dukes, who also has a radio host show on his local show Firearms Friday on KFAR, is calling Menino's arrest last week entrapment. Menino is accused of setting off a large recreational explosive that damaged nearby homes earlier this month. Dukes, who says he has never been to the Chena Ridge Range where the blast took place, says he believes Menino's arrest was entrapment because of what he's heard from others. Alaska State Troopers say Menino's arrest was not the result of any planned operation. He's charged with third-degree felony criminal mischief and is currently free on bail. The Senate State Affairs Committee this morning held a hearing on a proposal to declare May 10th Alaska Mining Day. May 10th, 1872 will mark the 140th anniversary of the General Mining Law of the United States, which governs prospecting and mining for minerals on federal public lands. Mining was an extremely important component in Alaska's early development and economy, with many cities such as Fairbanks, Juneau, and Nome being founded as mining communities. Today, the industry continues to provide hundreds of good-paying jobs and substantial revenue to the state.
Mining's provided over 4,000 jobs that average about $100,000 a year each job. These are highly skilled jobs, engineers, environmental scientists, heavy equipment operators, and mechanics. Mining can provide great economic benefits to our poorest regions. An example is that the Red Dog Mine, it's the only taxpayer in the Northwest Arctic Borough, and that's provided huge benefits to the people of that region.
And Mike Schultz joins us now with our first look at weather. And Mike, a bit cooler out there.
You're right, Daryl. It's a little bit cooler than we were expecting. Temperatures dropped down to about 15 below this morning. We're expecting a rebound tomorrow, though, so temperatures should warm back up again. But this weekend, it could be a little different story. We'll tell you more about that later on. Right now, around the interior, we're looking at pretty consistent temperatures, although quite a bit warmer at Delta Junction. 13 degrees there, while 7 degrees at Fairbanks and Fort Wainwright. A little cooler at Austin Air Force Base and North Pole, 6 degrees. 1 degree at Nenana and Denali Park, 8 degrees. Now, would you believe in the lower 48, 10 inches of snow in Oklahoma City? They got a big winter storm. We'll tell you all about it with all the weather coming up later on. Daryl?
Okay, thank you, Mike. Now, when we come back, part 2 of our series on bringing natural gas to the interior. Also, time to shave your head, but for a great cause. We'll let you know. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites. Spadard Builder Supply, Denali State Bank, your community bank, and by Napa Alaska Stores, Napa Know-How.
Welcome back. We continue our series tonight focusing in on Alaska natural gas. Last night was an overview of natural gas and how to get it to market. Tonight we take a look at the many numerous projects that are out there. The lion's share of Alaska natural gas comes from up in the North Slope. Alaskans know natural gas is cheap, clean burning, and abundant. But how to get this stuff to market? For every idea out there, there is a corresponding group or project. To start, the Alaska Pipeline Project, a product of the Alaska Gasline Inducement Act, AGIA, enacted into law in May of 2007. In 2008, TransCanada was selected as the exclusive recipient of an AGIA license. ExxonMobil later partnered. Last year, TransCanada requested a shift in focus from a pipeline route through Canada to an all-Alaska route to Tidewater, after all major North Slope oil and gas producers aligned with the TransCanada refocus. Still, after 5 years, the state of Alaska-backed Gasline project has not produced a line. Another major project comes from the Alaska Gasline Port Authority. The Municipal Port Authority was established in 1999, and members include the Fairbanks North Star Borough and City of Valdez. Their proposal is a pipeline from Prudhoe to Port of Valdez Tidewater. The bulk of the now liquefied natural gas would be exported to Asian markets. Late last year, company spokesperson Bill Walker said the numbers just aren't there for a gas line that only addressed Alaskan needs. A plan for export must be attached, and the profits would be large.
And this is what would allow Alaska to benefit from low-cost energy, is because of this market. You know, when I'm in Seoul, Korea, and I look out at 11 million people, in that city, we need those people as our customer base, whatnot. So, and as they explained to us so eloquently when we met with POSCO 2 weeks ago in Anchorage, they said, you know, we are a country with many people and no resources, and we are a state with a whole lot of resources, and you know, 624,000 people isn't going to be enough to do this as far as from a market standpoint.
In the next report, whenever a gas line project is finally chosen, it will still be 10 years from completion. In the meantime, several other organizations are interested in trucking natural gas to the interior. Tomorrow, how do you truck natural gas, and who wants to do it? The flu, colds, and the norovirus reached nearly epidemic levels this year. In this week's health report, Doreen Gensler shows us how quickly these germs can spread.
With this year's especially bad flu season, you can run, but you can't hide from the germs all around us.
Viruses start from a human, so these come from someone who coughs or sneezes, or someone who gets the virus on his or her hands and then touches something.
So once these germs are present, just how easily do we pass them around? We went to the offices of Carfax in Centerville, Virginia, and spread around this special powder called Glow Germ, mostly invisible to the eye, but it glows under a black light. We place the powder on high-use areas around the office, doorknobs, phones, in the kitchen, and on the computer, and then let employees go to work. After about 20 minutes, we took out the black light for a look. The powder, like a virus, had spread onto nearly everyone's hands and faces.
I had a lot more than I expected to have, and it's pretty gross.
And you start to realize how easily, you know, it gets passed around from person to person, from object to object.
And you're in an environment where surfaces touch many times.
16th interior residents will shave their heads to show solidarity with children with cancer. It will take place at the Pioneer Park Exhibit Hall at 2700 Airport Way. Locally, the fundraising event known as St. Baldrick's is in its 8th year. It was first started in the interior in 2004 by area firefighters. Since then, they've raised about $250,000 total. Last year, over 50 people signed up to have their heads shaved for the cause.
This will be our 9th year doing the event, and we've raised almost $260,000 in the Fairbanks area in the last 8 years, and we hope to have that number keep climbing. But we try to get the word out as early as we can to get people signed up and get the money coming in.
To donate, log on to stbaldricks.org and search for the local fundraising effort here in Fairbanks. Okay, well, Joe Cook will be up after the break, and he has a nice story out of the Yukon Quest as Mushers continue to cross the finish line about sportsmanship on the trail. Now, the Mushers will show you what it means, and more sports action from over the weekend with Joe coming up next.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. Hope you're having a good day. And now to make it better, let's talk some sports. In the Region 6 cross-country skiing championships, the Big Dogs take the titles. The Lathrop girls team and the West Valley boys won the 4x3K relays up at Birch Hill over the weekend. The Lady Malamutes won the overall championship by more than a minute. The relay team of Jade Hadukovic, Mackenzie Parrott, Kiana Hamlin, and Catherine O'Connor finished just under 56 minutes and 15 seconds. For West Valley, the team of Jonathan Koenig, Peter Noon, Bobby Signor, and Max Donaldson cruised, beating the B team of West Valley by over a minute and the Lathrop squad by 4 minutes. Next for these teams are the state championships at Kincaid Park in Anchorage starting February 21st. In high school hoops action, there were some milestones this past weekend. The West Valley Wolfpack boys team won the Homer Mariners Classic with an 82-49 win over Valdez. Senior Lorenzo Graham, hey man, he messed around and got a triple-double with 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists in the win. The Wolfpack beat Valdez Nikiski and Homer to claim the title. Charles Sutters was made to the all-tournament team. In the Aurora Conference, it was a bittersweet one for senior Darren Silas. Silas scored 1,000 career points in a 64-59 loss to Galena. He reached that milestone in the second quarter on a three-pointer. Silas finished with a game-high 23 points. The Lady Hawks, however, won over Galena 52-31. Mimi Wood had a game-high 13 points for Hutch. And Saturday, Eielson wins on homecoming, coming back from a 17-point deficit and beats Barrow 58-56, led by Javante Kincaid's 19 points and Jesse Snickers' 12 points. And the Nanics look like a potentially dominant postseason team with a 6-1 win over the Buckeyes Friday night. The Buckeyes returned the favor Saturday with a 3-1 win. It was a battle with a scoreless first period, but a 5-minute major penalty on Nolan Heisman's opened the door for the Buckeyes as Tanner Fritz gets the puck past Keeney for a 1-0 lead. More special teams on a 4-on-4 just before the end of the second period. Andy Toronto, man, he shot a laser, just straight power, and he tied the game at 1-1. But in the third, after an offensive miscue, Derek and Jelly fired it in the net for the game winner. And a few minutes later, Ryan Zingle, another top scorer in the CCHA, he puts the game away for a 3-1 win. But another Nanick received league honors as Kari Ortegard was named the CCHA Gladiator Defenseman of the Week for his 10-block performance against the Buckeyes in this series the past weekend. Now the Nanicks are 20th in the USCHO and tied for 13th in the pairwise rankings. The Nanicks' next season series is at rival Lake Superior State. And last night, after Alan Moore and Hugh Neff finished first and second early in the AM, the third and fourth place Mushers crossed the finish line. Brent Sass was third, his best career finish, followed by Jake Berkowitz. He came in around 7 p.m. But what will link these two in Yukon Quest history will be more than where they finished in the race, but the experience the two Mushers shared on Eagle Summit. Sass helped Berkowitz's team up the summit when conditions made it rough for them to pass over. A great display of sportsmanship in the midst of competition. Sass and Berkowitz talked about that Eagle Summit ordeal and the quest.
Kind of got to go back to the drawing board and figure out why that happened. I know Brent and I the next night, not together, but about an hour apart, conquered Rosebud, and that was actually one of the most challenging runs I've been on. There was probably 40-mile-an-hour winds, constant up there. And although everyone always talks about Eagle Summit, I think Rosebud actually has like 7 summits that we go over. But it was really difficult because there's a lot of turns around the summits, and it was all drifted in, and And the dogs did incredible.
I can tell you why they excelled, because Jake had the most positive attitude on Eagle Summit, and it just goes right back into the dogs. You know, when you don't get bummed out when something goes wrong and you keep positive, he kept positive, and the dogs didn't get bummed out on Eagle Summit. They just learned from that experience, and they were eager and ready to prove to Dad that they could get over the next one. So
I couldn't be happier. You know, fourth place is fourth place, and these dogs loping into the finish line is dogs loping in after 1,000 miles. So, you know, we're always here to win, and when we don't, we take happiness and other things, and right now it's the dogs. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be back, and we'll be back to win.
And Scott Smith also crossed the finish line late last night in 5th place, leading the rookie class for the Yukon Quest. He was followed by fellow rookie Marcus Ingerbretsen from Norway for 6th place. And for the second straight year, Abby West of Fairbanks finished in 8th today as well. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. For more KTVF sports, log on to Twitter, YouTube, webcenter11.com, and download our mobile app. Stay cool, Alaska. Mike Schultz has your full weather forecast coming up next, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fairbanks Evening News. Time for a look at the weather. Mike Schultz with you. And what a great picture this is tonight. We're going to call this Fire in the Sky, sent in by Christopher Reed. A beautiful picture of the sunset there. And again, if you have a photograph to share, please give me a call or send it to me at MikeSchultz@KTVF11.com. Well, what's going on at the airport right now? 5 degrees after a high of 10. The low last night, 15 below. Record high in 1942, up to 44 that day. Record low, 53 below in 1932. Sunrise this morning, not quite 9 o'clock. Sunset at about 5:14, which works out to 8 hours and 15 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. And as far as what's going on across the state today, as you can see, we're looking at cloudy skies over southeast Alaska, cloudy skies once again over the Gulf of Alaska. A little bit of shower activity up and down the west coast as it was yesterday. Snow around Bethel and Nome, and just mainly cloudy skies at Barrow, 10 degrees below zero there. Fort Yukon at 0 degrees. Our satellite picture, wanted to show you this area of low pressure here that's moving in rapidly to the Prince William Sound area. That's going to bring a lot of snow to Anchorage, about maybe up to 4 inches. Should not give us much at all here because just the Alaska Range blocking everything out. Now in the lower 48 weather tonight, we have quite a bit to talk about. Over the Pacific Northwest, still some more rain showers falling across there, but here's where all the interesting weather gets going, and it doesn't look like on the map here on Texas, but look at this picture, and you'll see this pink moving across parts of northern Texas and Oklahoma, bringing, like I said, close to 10 inches of snow there. That's going to continue moving off to the northeast, but it's still flooding rains over the southeast and more cold air coming in from the north. This snowfall totals, you can see here, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, locally 8 inches in many parts of Oklahoma tonight around the Tulsa area. And as far as the jet stream, well, it's going to continue to bring more cold air in from Canada across much of the lower 48, maybe some showers of thunderstorms over the southern Florida peninsula. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Northern sections, cloudy skies with fog in Barrow, 2 inches of snow expected in Nome, and just clouds in the Fort Yukon area. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at increasing clouds for both Fairbanks and mostly cloudy skies in the Healy area. Over southeast Alaska, looks like rain and snow in Juneau, with rainy periods expected at Ketchikan. And over the southwest part of the state, partly cloudy at Bethel, rain and snow at Cold Bay and Kodiak. And south central regions, a little snowy off and on there for Anchorage and Valdez, but more snow showers also for the home area, so kind of snowy over the entire south central regions. Well, back to Alaska, actually back to our kids' weather for this week. We've been talking with the kids from U Park Elementary School. Tonight, a young lady with a picture for us.
Hello, my name is Kier, and I am in Miss Roth's 3rd grade class at U Park Elementary. This is a picture of sunshine reflecting off of ice fog and a birch tree.
And tomorrow night, a young man will be here with a weather question for me. All right, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Looking at 14 below with patchy fog in some areas. Tomorrow's forecast, 18 degrees above, quite a bit warmer than today. And the extended forecast, as you can see here, temperatures warming up and then cooling down quite dramatically over the weekend. Overnight lows dropping down to 12 to 15 below. Could be even colder by the first part of next week. We won't talk about that yet. But we'll talk about a pretty good chance of seeing some snow off and on into the weekend. A little better chance for Saturday and Sunday for sure. So cool temperatures coming back our way, but nothing severe.
Well, it's still February. Things can happen like this. Now, if it gets into the latter part of March and we start seeing these kind of
No, we don't
numbers,
want to see that.
No, but that's a whole month away.
Exactly.
All right, and just a quick reminder that our News Center final broadcast is always at 11. J.R. Lewis is always at 6:30 in the morning. That'll wrap up this edition of our broadcast. We're glad you could join us.
Good night.